the beginning of this particular apocalypse, 100 million years ago, I received an unexpected spam text. I promptly deleted it and blocked the number, but it was basically advertising that I should buy some gummy bears from a random scam artist to take the edge off coronavirus. Gummy bears. To cure a pandemic. Having recently lived through what was probably COVID-19, I can assure this friendly neighborhood scam artist that, as they well know, candy does not save you from shit. This text message bothered me. But supposedly miraculous gummy bears are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to coronavirus conspiracy theories. Humans, as a species, are quick to make up explanations for the unexplainable. We need things to fit into understandable boxes. But virulent diseases like this novel coronavirus do not fit into those boxes. They defy logic in the same vast, incalculable manner as geologic time. We do not want to believe that they're real. And that's why we come up with stories. Stories about how 5G wireless technology is causing the pandemic. Stories about how this is all a secret plot by Bill Gates to implant us with trackers hidden in future vaccines. Stories about untested drugs and how we should try injecting disinfectant. Stories about how the virus is a Chinese bioweapon. Stories about how it's a US bioweapon. Stories about how this is all some kind of incredibly elaborate hoax, complete with crisis actors, designed to usher in a new world order. There's even a fringe theory that claims that coronavirus is a clever tactic to arrest Satanists. Sure, whatever, guys. All of these weird, life-threatening medical headcanons brought me to an equally weird conclusion. You see, it has become painfully obvious to me that in this unprecedented moment of mass misinformation and consequential mass death, the world needs to hear about the history of garlic as a magical object. That probably sounds ridiculous to you. To be fair, it's a ridiculous idea. But the most outlandish ideas are quite often the best ones, so stick with me. I think you'll be surprised. Okay, so, for months now, our lives have been upended by social distancing. States are starting to reopen, even though cases continue to climb all around the country and the world. Donald Trump has decided that testing to get an accurate picture of the scale of all this is a bad idea. I had COVID-19, but I haven't gotten an antibody test because somehow none of them are FDA approved. When it comes to our health, we're looking for answers everywhere. But luckily for us, we do know some things we can do to stay safe. For a few months now, people around the world with the privilege to do so really have been staying home, picking up new hobbies, and heroically doing as little as possible. But what if this pandemic had happened a mere 130 years ago, before Hungarian obstetrician Ignaz Semmelweis popularized the idea of hand washing? What if it had happened before Dr. Wu Lien-te invented personal protective masks during the Great Manchurian Plague in 1897, or before Louis Pasteur proved that germ theory was real? If a pandemic on this scale had happened before all that, what answers would we have come up with? Let's just say they would be weird. And probably, just like those gummy bears, inexorably tied to food. Garlic, one of the most divisive of those foods, recently inspired its own viral internet challenge. In early March, in what feels like the before times, people around the country took to filming themselves eating whole cloves of raw garlic, enduring the painful, pungent experience on camera to help combat COVID-19. This was mostly on Instagram stories, so the videos are kinda gone. I've been working on this video for a long time. Anyway, that still probably sounds bizarre. What could garlic do in the face of a global pandemic? While we don't know what effect it has on COVID-19, this is by no means the first time we have turned to garlic, most commonly thought of as a humble pantry staple, in times of crisis. In traditional Chinese medicine, which has been practiced since at least 2000 BCE, garlic is used to treat respiratory and digestive issues, particularly diarrhea and parasites. Hippocrates, the ancient Greek scholar known as the father of medicine, prescribed it for wounds, to fight infection, and even as a cure for leprosy. Ayurveda practitioners claim that garlic purifies the blood, enhances fertility, and is effective against malaria. As recently as World War I and II, field medics used moss soaked with garlic as an antiseptic, and even used garlic to replace penicillin when it was in short supply. Garlic is so good for you that during a 17th century plague outbreak, one anonymous writer proclaimed, "Our doctor is a clove of garlic." So historical physicians, who incidentally were mostly women, decided it must be warding off evil spirits. Though garlic is best known for repelling Eastern European vampires who vaunt to suck your blood, nearly every culture that eats it has at least a few stories about garlic's apotropaic potency. Historical Sanskrit texts describe garlic as a slayer of monsters. In ancient Egypt, garlic was used as currency as an aphrodisiac and was considered so sacred that garlic-shaped lumps of clay were interred with dead pharaohs. The Korean creation myth exalts garlic, which was considered an excellent way to repel tigers. Several historical European cultures used it as a protection against sprites, fairies, trolls, and witches. Odysseus eats garlic to prevent Circe from turning him into a pig in the Odyssey. There's even a popular Indonesian folktale where garlic is personified as a Cinderella figure. And like I said, everyone knows garlic keeps away the vampires. Whether those vampires are the Filipino Mananang Gal, a beautiful, winged woman who detaches her torso and flies off into the night to suck the blood of pregnant women, or Romanian dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, who did not receive a proper burial upon his death in 1989 and was widely considered to be a vampire by a superstitious public, one thing is constant. Blood-sucking fiends are repulsed by the stinking rose. These folk beliefs persist even now. Mothers around the world carried garlic in their handbags to ward off the evil eye. Belizean cab drivers put garlic on their dashboards to attract good luck and money. In modern Palestinian weddings, the groom often wears a clove of garlic on his person to ensure a successful wedding night. This idea of garlic as a divine force for good lined up neatly with accepted medical theory for centuries. And in several historic cultures, garlic was used far more in curing the sick than in cooking. While pandemics like the Black Death tended to be blamed on the wrath of angry gods, Eurasian doctors had a surprisingly sound idea of how those vengeful whatsits exacted their terror upon humanity. Called miasma theory, this idea held that diseases from cholera to chlamydia were caused by unpleasant smells from contaminated water, rotting organic matter, and poor hygienic conditions. And as long as it was hot outside, this kinda worked. Come winter, though, not so much. Considered sound medical science until the 1860s, miasma theory was thought to explain all kinds of diseases. But you know what smells terrible and is perfectly safe to eat? Garlic. So it would follow that such a contradiction was caused by an act of God, yes? Pre-modern physicians certainly thought so. As such, the mere presence of garlic on a necklace, in your pocket, in a braid around your waist, or in a wreath encasing your newborn child was thought to keep away threats both medical and supernatural. Rubbing garlic-based poultices on the painful, pus-filled sores that made the plague as horrific as it was seemed to help victims. But applying the same logic to ward off, say, the Armenian Daka Navar, a vampire that you repel by rubbing garlic on the soles of your feet, works a little less well. Because vampires do not exist. And this, my dear viewers, brings us to plague doctors. Why? Because those bizarre outfits were basically antiquated hazmat suits, complete with special canes for examining patients while maintaining social distance. Those otherworldly beaks, they were full of strong-smelling herbs like garlic, juniper, roses, mint, cloves, and even laudanum, a highly addictive opium-based pain medication. These herbs were thought to protect plague doctors from the spirits that spread disease, and had the added benefit of distracting from the noxious fumes given off by both patients and corpses infected with the plague. Did filling weird masks with herbs keep doctors from getting sick? Absolutely not. But wearing the masks at all definitely helped. Were diseases spread by literally anything that smells bad? Nope. But that doesn't mean that dumpster diving improves your health. Does filling your house with garlic keep away the forces of evil? Well, not if you're hanging it up on the wall. But eating garlic can have quite a remarkable effect. Those stories about garlic as a slayer of monsters didn't come from nowhere. While garlic itself has not been approved for medicinal use by the FDA, medical researchers have found that it's an antiviral, an antibacterial, and an antifungal. Some compounds in garlic are thought to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, have anti-tumor effects, and might even help manage the symptoms of diabetes. There are multiple antimicrobials in garlic, but the one we know the most about is a crazy chemical called allicin, which is an amino acid derivative that can reduce inflammation and has antioxidant benefits. That allicin is so good for you because, ironically, it's a poison. Like the capsaicin in chilies, allicin exists to drive away pests that might want to eat it. But our systems can metabolize allicin, so instead of hurting us, it just kills all kinds of microscopic beasties. Science does not yet fully understand the health benefits of allicin and the other 200 or so compounds in garlic that are thought to treat the common cold, lower cholesterol, improve athletic performance, prevent osteoporosis, clear up dermatological problems, and protect against brain damage and dementia. It makes quite a bit of sense why ancient peoples would have considered it miraculous. We still don't fully understand why garlic is so good for us, and we've known that it's good for us for thousands of years. COVID-19, in contrast, has existed since late last year. As wonderful as it would be for the medical professionals of the world to know everything about how it spreads, the wide variations in its symptoms, and the exact best procedures for us to get back to our daily lives, that's still impossible right now. But we do know some things about how to stay safe. We know that washing our hands with soap and water for only 20 seconds obliterates this virus. We know to wear masks in public, and that maintaining social distance keeps COVID-19 from spreading. We know from places like New Zealand that flattening the curve is genuinely possible. We even know to call it a virus, what it looks like, and how we've combated pathogenic threats like this before. Heck, we can learn a thing or two from those plague doctors, even if they did dress like they were explicitly trying to become nightmare fuel. At least they knew to keep their faces covered. Attacking cell phone towers will not keep you safe. Harassing medical personnel and protesting the global shutdown will not keep you safe. Praying hard enough won't keep you safe either, but hey, it can't hurt as long as you're doing it inside your own house. Oh, and just to be clear, garlic is no cure-all either. We desperately want to put this unprecedented crisis into a neat little box. A box we can understand. One we can shove in a drawer and forget about. One that lets us get back to our comfortable routines. Back when we could go to restaurants and stadiums and take taxis and public transportation, or just head into work in the morning and have a couple friends over at night without worrying over the ever-present threat that we might be unwittingly contracting or spreading an unseen killer. But this novel coronavirus does not fit in a box. The dude who ate that Chinese bat is Pandora, and the demons are loose. So, even if your state is reopening, stay home if you can. If you have to go out, do whatever you can to protect yourself. And hey, maybe add some more raw garlic to your diet. It might not cure coronavirus, or ward off any vampires, but hey, nobody's perfect. Hey everyone, that was the second episode of Internet Food Historian. I really hope you liked it, and if you did, you should do all the usual things. Head down to the diddly-doo, smash that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or two, and if you really liked it, you should check out my Patreon where you can help me make more better videos like this. Oh, and if you want some really great information about the pandemic, check out Healthcare Triage, where they're doing the least stressful, most helpful coverage I've seen anywhere. In the description, I'm also listing some more coronavirus resources that you can actually trust. Anyway, I hope you're staying home, refraining from destroying cell phone towers, and eating lots of garlic. Much love, Lizzie.